This is a tutorial on how to use Grafana with your node. So this is available for both dap node and Docker. If you're using dap node, you just have to install the DMS package, and under the info tab, click on this link, as shown in the instructions here, within the documentation, and it's quite easy. For Docker, it's a little bit longer, so we're going to go through the instructions here. So first, you have to clone the GitHub repository. I already have it cloned, so when I do this, it gives an error, but so it'll start loading the repository when you do it. After that, you want to go into the directory. So just keep copying these links. And then we need to edit the environment file. So when you do this, a file like this will pop up. This is this file over here. And you need to edit a few of these. So mainly you want to add your API token, your safe address, your module address, your public IP address, everything you'd put onto the Docker command if you're running a new node, and also the identity file path. So you can actually just look at the Docker command over here, copy some of these things, such as the identity file path, and then just find your module safe address and public IP address and add them into the commands. After you do that, just hit Control X, and if you're told or asked if you want to save the file, enter Y, click enter, and that'll save the file. I have all my variables added already. So after that, let's navigate back to the directory. And then finally, to install the node with Grafana, you just have to run this line, this Docker compose. I've actually already run this. Running it again will be a little bit redundant, but it'll take a lot longer for you to run it. It'll load and take approximately 2 minutes or a minute. So once that's done, you're actually all set up. You have Grafana installed with your node, and you can actually locate it on the port 3030. So this is my VPS IP address. So I can actually just use this link and end up here. If you're running this locally, then use localhost 3030. If you're running a VPS, use a VPS IP address and then 3030, and you'll end up here. So to log in, you can use the credentials admin and HOPR. Just type this out. Okay, over here, you want to navigate dashboards, HOPR, and HOPR node overview. So because this is a dead node that I just started a couple seconds ago, or a little while ago, there's no real data over here. So I'm just going to go through some of these dashboards. These will get updated, and with new KPIs, and every release will have different KPIs that will decide if your node's healthy or not. Well, there'll be some variance across them. So let's look at some of these statistics. So over here, you can see my node startup. It just started up very recently. You can see the memory it's using, but let's start from the top. Pairs by quality. So my node's dead right now. It's not quite in the network. It just started. I have no known pairs. But once your node starts up, you'll have a green line showing your total pairs, then two lines showing how many of them are low quality and how many of them are high quality. So if you have too many low quality nodes, it means your node's quite early in the process of starting up, or it's just not being able to reach many nodes. Relay connections is not important. This dashboard will get replaced as people don't communicate to public relay nodes post D4. Your network health should obviously be yellow or green. If it's any of the other colors, then either wait for your node to finish initiating or restart your node. So here's an interesting statistic or metric. It's ping rates. So ping rate shows the number of successful pings and unsuccessful pings you have. So these ratios should skew very heavily towards the blue lines. This is flat right now, but the blue line should be much, much higher, and the red line you want flat. So total heartbeat probing time. The heartbeat mechanism is a mechanism in the background which pings all your known pairs every 2 seconds. If a node misses a ping, then it doubles that time and pings it in 4 seconds, and it keeps doubling 8 seconds if it keeps missing pings. If that node finally responds, it goes back to pinging every 2 seconds. So the time it takes you to ping all your known pairs, including the longest one that hasn't been pinged, is your total heartbeat probing time. And if this cycle is taking too long, you probably have several dead known nodes. This can be a problem. Ping response time. This data, you want the graph to actually spread very close to the low numbers. I have no data here, but you want the ping times to be 0.5, 1, or lower, generally. Again, this is based on the heartbeat mechanism. So if you see many pings taking very, very long on this graph, then likely you have a lot of dead nodes or bad connections to nodes, which might be problematic. So over here, you can see the number of restarts when your node started up and the memory your node's using. So pre-do4, this was a big problem. You'd use too much memory, and that would cause crashes and restarts. So if you constantly see the memory spiking, hitting the cap of 2 gigabytes, and then a lot of restarts, then your node's having a lot of problems. Likely you might not be using the correct release, since you usually only push the stable ones, post-do4. So you might want to restart your node, check if you're using the correct release, and ask the Telegram community for a little bit of help. But these are the basic Grafana dashboards. These will get updated with more metrics. But what's actually a little bit better for power users is that once you install the Grafana dashboards, you also expose port 1990, which for people who are a little more into data can use to create their own graphs, look at other metrics. You could see how long it takes your node to reach green connectivity status, for example. Again, I have a dead node, so no data is going to appear here. But for you, it might be fun to play around with.